Why the sex industry prints money, the psychology nobody talks about. It is the industry nobody wants to talk about in public, but everybody knows exists. It has outlasted empires. It has survived every recession, every moral debate, every attempt to shut it down. And right now, today, it generates hundreds of billions of dollars every single year globally. We are not here to judge it. We are not here to debate it. We are here to understand it. Because if you study money and psychology at the deepest level, this industry holds some of the most powerful lessons about human behavior, desire, and spending that exist anywhere in the financial world. And what it reveals about us, about all of us, might make you look at your own relationship with money very differently. Let's get into it. Most industries collapse during a recession. People stop buying cars, they cut vacations, they cancel subscriptions. But this industry does something almost no other industry does. It grows during hard times. The reason is simple, and it is deeply psychological. Basic human desires do not respond to economic conditions. Fear, stress, and financial pressure don't eliminate the need for pleasure and escape. They intensify it. When life feels out of control, people run toward anything that makes them feel something different, even temporarily. Economists call this a recession-proof market. Psychologists call it displacement behavior. People redirect emotional pain into consumable experiences. And the industry has been perfectly positioned to catch that redirection for centuries. This is not an accident. It is the result of a market that is built entirely around the most powerful and consistent force in human psychology: desire. Not want, not preference, raw biological desire. No marketing budget in the world can manufacture what this industry already has built in. Here is the truth that makes this industry so financially powerful. Nobody is actually buying a product. They are buying a feeling, and that distinction is everything. When the brain anticipates pleasure, any kind of pleasure, it releases dopamine, not when the pleasure arrives, when it anticipates it. That means the scrolling, the searching, the build-up, all of it is already triggering the reward system before anything is consumed. This is the same neurological loop behind gambling, behind social media, behind drug use. The brain gets hooked on the chase as much as the reward itself. And once that loop is established, the spending that follows it becomes less rational and more compulsive. People spend more than they planned, more than they can afford, more than they consciously intended, because the decision-making part of the brain is not fully in control anymore. The dopamine system is. This is why this industry generates such extraordinary revenue per customer. It is not selling a product you buy once. It is engineering a psychological loop that keeps people pulling back, and it does it more effectively than almost any other consumer market in existence. What people are buying is temporary relief from their own mind, and that has an almost unlimited price point. There is a loneliness epidemic sweeping the world right now, and this industry is one of its biggest financial beneficiaries. Studies show that loneliness has reached record levels globally. People report having fewer close friends than any previous generation, less physical connection, less genuine intimacy, more digital interaction that leaves them feeling emptier than before. And into that emptiness, this industry stepped with a very specific psychological offer. Not just pleasure, attention, validation, the feeling that someone sees you, that you matter, that for this moment you are chosen. That psychological need is far more powerful than physical desire, and it is far more expensive to fill. The fastest growing segments of this industry are not purely physical, they are relational.
Platforms built around conversation, emotional connection, and personal attention generate enormous revenue precisely because they are selling something the modern world has made scarce: human connection. When people cannot find genuine intimacy in their real lives, they spend money to simulate it, and they will keep spending as long as the loneliness remains. This is not a moral observation, it is a market observation, and it tells us something deeply important about what happens to consumer spending when a society stops genuinely connecting with itself. This is the part that gets into the deepest psychology of all, and it explains why some people in this market spend amounts that seem completely irrational from the outside. It's about control and the illusion of it. In everyday life, most people feel powerless over their finances, their careers, their relationships. The world moves fast, demands are high, and the feeling of being in control of anything is increasingly rare. This industry sells control, or more precisely, it sells the feeling of it. In a fantasized environment, everything bends to your preference. There is no rejection, no judgment, no power dynamic working against you. You are the center. You decide. And for someone whose real life feels completely out of their hands, that feeling is worth extraordinary amounts of money. Psychologists call this escapism, but it goes deeper than escape. It's psychological compensation. People are not just running away from their real lives, they are running toward a version of themselves that feels powerful, desired, and in control. And the industry engineers every element of the experience to amplify that feeling and extend it as long as possible. The longer the illusion holds, the more money gets spent. It is not weakness. It is human psychology meeting a perfectly engineered financial trap. Here is the money psychology lesson for everyone, not just people engaging with this industry. Every legitimate business in the world has studied what makes this industry so financially powerful, and the smartest ones have applied those same psychological principles to their own markets. The dopamine loop, used by every social media platform ever built. The loneliness gap, exploited by subscription apps, dating platforms, and influencer culture. The power illusion, sold by luxury brands, sports cars, and status symbols every single day. The sex industry is not an outlier in the economy. It is a mirror. It reflects back the rawest version of how human psychology and money interact when there are no filters, no social pretense, and no moral packaging around the transaction. What it reveals is this: people do not spend money rationally. They spend it emotionally. They spend it chasing feelings, pleasure, connection, control, escape, and validation. And they will consistently overpay for those feelings in every single market they enter. The most financially dangerous thing you can do is believe you are immune to this. The most financially powerful thing you can do is learn to recognize when your emotions are making your spending decisions for you. Because every industry, everyone is competing for the same thing. Not your money, your psychological triggers.